every April 1st, I make a phone call to this gentleman, Tony Gazzana, who hired me back in 1991, and he was the owner and general manager of WRJN and our FM station at the time, too. And he hired me. And then I did something very horrible. On April Fool's Day, I played a joke on him that really upset you at the time, didn't it? Before you knew it was a joke.
Yeah, I was a little concerned, Don. I have to admit.
So here's the backstory. Before April Fool's, in March, we were inspected by the Federal Communications Commission. It happens occasionally, and I did the inspection with the gentleman. So nobody spoke to him except me. So nobody knew. So he did his inspection. They come in. They don't smile. They don't talk to you. They come in with their checklist. And then he leaves. And we never heard back from the inspection. So I decided on April 1st we were going to hear back from the Federal Communications Commission. And I found some old letterhead here from the FCC, and I made a blank sheet, and I typed out this really impressive-looking letter from the Federal Communications Commission, and it said, pursuant to field test number blah, 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 on this date, these are the following things we found wrong, and we're levying a fine against WRJN, and it was, what was the name of the company? It was, what was the name of the company, though? I forgot.
I'm still traumatized.
Anyway, levying a fine of $15,000 against the company. I put it in a FedEx envelope, sealed it, made it look like a FedEx delivery, and stuck it in your door mailbox on the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm waiting. We had a lady who worked here, and I'm waiting for her to come in, and I knew she was going to snoop and look it through your mailbox. And I'm watching through the window of the studio. Yes! And she calls you immediately to tell you she got this FedEx envelope from the FCC, and she reads it to you. And what was your reaction when you first heard it?
Well, I think anytime the federal government steps in with a fine and threatens your livelihood, it was a little disconcerting for me, Don. And by the way, I have to admit, I think that was fraudulent, and I think the window of prosecution is still open on you.
No, statute of limitations is 7 years. That's why I'm able to talk about it.
Not on these federal offenses there, Don.
Okay,
especially tampering with the mail. He's absolutely right.
Mr. Rosen, we're at the door.
Thank you very much, David.
No, if I was you, I would have fired him right on the spot. But
wait a second, it gets better.
It does get better
because at the end I said, "Pay up. I don't want to hear any sappy stories from you," and I signed to the FCC, whatever. And then he knew it was a joke. You come into the radio station and you hold a meeting with all the employees to tell them they're taking a pay cut because you have to pay for this fine. Remember that? Now at this point,
of long faces.
Right, you know it's a joke at this point. And after they all heard that their pay is being cut by 50%, we all had a good laugh on it. That's the only April Fool's joke I've ever pulled in my life. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I thought, well, we didn't hear from the FCC. I bet you Tony would be upset if he got a nasty letter from them.
And we've been reliving this for 25 years, Don.
Yeah, we still talk about I always let him know on April 1st about the joke, because it's the only one I ever pulled. And I thought it was pretty good. He got the results, and we had a good laugh on it. Tony had to go to therapy for about 2 or 3 years afterwards. He saw a psychologist. He just couldn't deal with the trauma from the joke. But you got to admit, it was fun.
And here's the outcome. In 1990, when I hired you, and today, because I just heard it, they're singing your name on the radio. I mean, how does that happen? Don Rosen.
Oh,
I mean, come on.
Yeah, you never got me a name jingle, a voice shout. You never got me one of those.
I want to find out how I can have him sing my name. You know.
Goodbye to radio station.
I just got done asking him for bumper music. He says, we don't do that here. And all of a sudden, I hear them singing Don Rosen. It's like, where's mine?
I didn't ask for it. It was given to me. But, yes, I was telling David the first 2 times you asked me to come down to Racine to work, I said no. And then you got Rich Washer, a co-friend, to talk to us. And he said, blow him out of the water. Tell him what you want. He won't bother you anymore. And I told you what I wanted. He said, okay. And that was the end of that. Okay.
So you're responsible for unleashing Don Rosen on us. Thanks a lot, Tony.
Unfortunately, David, I have to bear that mantle. Yeah.
And you know what? I've been very fortunate with this company. I went through so many owners here, and each owner really let me do, not what I wanted to do, but didn't give me a hassle on when they said, we have to do this. And I really like that. I was very fortunate to, in my entire career, work with good owners, except for one.
We won't mention their name.
Yeah, I will. I don't have a problem with it. But anyway, yeah, and I thank Tony, and every April 1st, I want to make sure, Oh, you were here for the big, one last thing here, then I'll let you go because we got to get back to the ballot. But you were here for the big rainstorm in the building.
Absolutely.
Tony hired this guy to put a new roof on the radio station. And he didn't finish it, and he put a tarp on the building that wasn't anchored properly. We had a giant rainstorm. You were out of town, I think.
Yeah.
And at 6 o'clock in the morning, Ron Richards and I hear water in the ceiling. We don't see anything. Then, boom, all hell breaks loose, and there's water pouring. I don't mean dripping. I mean pouring into the radios. It was like a rainstorm. Do you ever see that video, Dave?
Nope.
Oh, I have 10 seconds of it on the phone. I've got the extended director's cut at home.
Yeah.
But, it was...
It should be noted, Don, that same individual that you spoke of momentarily called me when I was in the airport changing flights.
I know you thought.
And my response was, and what am I going to do?
I know.
See you later.
I know. I know what you're talking about. She said, yeah, what are we going to do? It's raining. So we called the fire department. They brought shop vacs in, and I remember when the roofer came in and saw it. I got a video of him walking in. I thought he was going to have a heart attack walking. He's a young guy, too. I thought he was going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. The entire building was ruined except for the transmitter and the
studios. The studio, yeah. Everything else was destroyed in there.
Yeah.
Tony, you're one of my favorite people. You're just, I just really like you. You're a good person. I like you very much. And happy April Fool's Day.
And the same to you. And David, it was a pleasure talking and at least having someone slightly on my side.
I'll talk to you next April 1st or before.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, nice guy, Tony Gazzana.